Another question, Blake. What is preventative maintenance, and is it necessary?
Preventative maintenance is typically on any mechanical device, whether it be a backhoe or a Cadillac or a Honda, is basically all the things that you need to do in order to maintain your vehicle so it will last a long period of time. Classic preventative maintenance things are fluid changes, lubrication of parts, tire rotations, cooling system flushes, oil changes, things like that.
Now, are there things that, what about some of the bigger things? You know, I know that I went to get I believe it was a timing belt replaced before, and they said, oh, change the water pump, even though it was working fine, and that's a bit more costly than an oil change. Are there bigger ones that are preventative maintenance?
It depends on what type of car you're driving. Some cars use components that will last the life of the car. Other cars, Honda Civics, Subarus, Audis use components that do need to be replaced from time to time. Some of it depends on the age of the car. Some of it depends on the climate that the car exists in, and then some of it is based on mileage. Typical mileage on most late model cars for timing belts is somewhere between 90 and 105,000 miles. And timing belts are probably the single most important thing that you can do to your vehicle other than your regular fluid services. A timing belt breaking can seriously damage the engine. We'll have cars that have broken a timing belt and require a complete engine. So you have a timing belt that would take a day and with the accessories and all the parts will add up somewhere between $400 and $1,200 depending on the model of car. Most engine replacements are anywhere between $3,000 to $6,000. We had an Audi in here a couple weeks ago, 116,000 miles on it, timing belt broke on it. It was $6,400 to put a new engine in it. So that's probably the single most important thing that you can do other than keeping oil in your car for preventative maintenance. Other things on preventative maintenance would be tire rotations. By rotating your tires on a regular basis, you're able to really extend the life of the tires.
Okay. Now, is there any other big ones that might surprise somebody that come to mind?
Nothing other than the timing belts on most of these cars. It's something that is really overlooked. A lot of people, have a tendency just to run into your local quick lube and get the oil changed and figure that's the end of it. And for the first 100,000 miles on a car, that's usually the case. But where it starts to get costly is when you don't do things like that. Some other normal, what I guess you could classify them as preventative maintenance, but it's more like just, we call maintenance, things that you just need to do from time to time would be, replacement of your spark plugs, replacement of your serpentine belt or your V belt, replacement of your secondary ignition parts, spark plug wires, ignition coils, oxygen sensors. It's not something that's looked at as a preventative maintenance thing or a maintenance item, but we've seen over the years that we'll get a 10 to 15% increase in fuel mileage when we change oxygen sensors. It's not something people readily think of because they still work and the check engine light doesn't come on. But what we found with them is they work, but they work very slowly. So the car is slow to make changes in the amount of fuel it's giving the car, and so when that happens, gas mileage decreases, and you also have an increased wear on your catalytic converter.
Okay. Now, some of those things that you mentioned, do you check those in a routine maintenance? And and then tell me, okay, you might need this soon, or do I wait for something to go wrong?
No, we typically, that's the beauty of preventative maintenance. If you do it, your odds of something going wrong are dramatically reduced. Every car is a little bit different because every driver is different. Every area of the country is different, and the circumstances are different from driver to driver. You might have someone that spends all day on the freeway, and they would service their car at a particular interval, where you have someone who doesn't do anything all day long but drive around in town, and so their vehicle is going to be serviced at a different interval. That's why it's so crucial to find a good service advisor in the shop that you trust, and then have them develop a plan specific to your car.